Pakistan exposes Pakistan. Former chief of Pakistan's Federal Investigation Agency, Tariq Khosa, has dropped a bombshell. This has left Islamabad stunned. This was a newspaper column where Khosa has minced no words in stating that Pakistan was responsible for the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks and that Pakistan has no choice but to deal with the attack that was planned and launched from Pakistani soil. Khosa, who headed Pakistan's Federal Investigation Agency investigating the Mumbai terror attack, says the entire Nawaz Sharif government and Pakistan army must ensure that the perpetrators and masterminds of the ghastly terror attack are brought to justice.
तो जैसे कि
there is cast iron evidence of involvement of Pakistan state. The investigations were carried out in India, parallel investigation agency in Pakistan. And what are Tariq Khosa's findings? They make a very interesting read. He says Lashkar-e-Taiba trained these terrorists in Thata in Sindh. They were launched from sea in Pakistan. He also goes on to say that casings and explosive devices were recovered and they were matched from what was recovered in India. Brigadier Mahalingam joins me from Delhi. I'll also have a guest from Pakistan, Tariq Pirzada, in just a moment. Brigadier Mahalingam, these revelations, what would they mean for Pakistan and India's case when it comes to 26/11?
See, the point that one would like to understand is Pakistan's involvement, Pakistan's ISI's involvement in this particular terror attack stands proofs, not only by the Indian evidence which we put across, but also by Pakistan. In fact, if you see that the man has gone down to say that the ops room in Karachi,
yes,
which was actually used by these terrorists, has been identified and sort of secured. So therefore, Pakistan is aware that these people were trained. They are aware that the material which was used was known to Pakistan, and it is aware that the operations were directed from the ops room in Karachi.
Yes.
This is precisely what he has said. Therefore, there is no need for any further sort of evidence anywhere else. These voice samples, etc.,
yes,
which we keep talking about, is all irrelevant. And today, if the whole thing has not gone about and the people have not been punished, it is not because evidences are not available. Let's be quite clear. If this has happened, it is because someone, and that is ISI, has prevented any further progress in this particular case.
In your opinion, based on this article, can India mount pressure on Pakistan to take action against the perpetrators?
See, the Indian government is definitely going to mount pressure, especially when the NSA stock is going to take place on August 23rd, 24th. They are going to mount pressure, and if I may think so, they may even bring in diplomatic pressure on Pakistan. But nevertheless, let us understand one thing quite clearly. Irrespective of what pressure India has brought in, till today, in all these years since our independence, none of the countries abroad has done anything. Britain is quite aware of the Mountbatten Plan.
Yes.
It is quite aware of the India Independence Act, despite the fact when Pakistan invaded India in 47, it didn't even open its mouth to say that this Pakistan is doing something wrong.
For a moment, I want to go across to these pictures full frame. This was a night of horror in India. 26/11, 10 Pakistani terrorists launched at sea by Pakistan. They reached Mumbai. They attacked several sites, and for the next 3 days, it was chaos, mayhem, and something that was being directed from Pakistan, from that control room in Karachi. So what does Tariq Khosa say about this? He says, Lashkar-e-Taiba trained these terrorists. Tariq Pirzada now joins me from Pakistan with the latest. Tariq Pirzada, after Tariq Khosa's article, can we at least now hope that Pakistan will stop pussyfooting on this issue and take action against the perpetrators?
Hello?
Tariq Pirzada, can you hear me? Can we now hope that Pakistan will take action against the perpetrators of terror?
I'm so glad that you raised this issue. You know, we have discussed this issue many, many times. Remember, three things have already happened. A, that because of the seriousness of the judicial system in Pakistan, the case is now underway, and in the recent conversation between the two prime ministers of Pakistan and India, they have agreed that they will accelerate the process, but the judicial process has to take its course, and it cannot be expedited under the whims and the wishes of the politicians of the two sides. So two things, one thing has to be remembered. There is a legal process going on right now.
Tariq Pirzada, you have lost 150 children in Peshawar. You will still speak English and not take action against terrorists. Is this how Pakistan will combat terror?
Well, I have a news for you. There have been several major arrests as a result of the bombing of those children, and that has been a major success. And we are now prosecuting those people.
Will Pakistan go after India-centric terror, sir? Will Pakistan go after India-centric terror? Because there is ample evidence to show that this plot was hatched in Pakistan. You may have arrested minions. You have not arrested the mastermind of terror.
Okay, here is the key thing that you must remember. Remember, there have been several dossiers that India has provided. The Supreme Court looked at them, and in the case of Hafiz Saeed, for example, they said that none of these dossiers have...
Forget Indian dossiers. What about your own investigations, sir? Tariq Khosa is not an Indian. He headed Pakistan's Federal Investigation Agency. He says these terrorists were trained in Pakistan. By whom, sir?
Interestingly, Tariq Khosa's article says everything but does not produce any evidence. And let me say one thing about the credibility, whether it is an Indian intelligence chief or a Pakistani investigative agency chief like Khosa, if they come out after a silence of 10 years or 8 years or 6 years and they cannot be honest about that sooner than later, then I would say that their statement should be seen with a lot of suspicion.
Respond to this, Freedom Mahalingam. Tariq Pirzada says Tariq Khosa's antecedents should be looked at, and there's suspicion in what he's saying now.
So he is now, I think, Mr. Pirzada, you have started suspecting your own people. And he has been not an ordinary man. He has been a DG of the FIA. Now you spoke about, let me come across. You spoke about the delay aspect. Now, I would like to say that this particular case has been deliberately delayed. Take the case of this particular case was shifted.
You are absolutely wrong. You are absolutely wrong. The Supreme Court said, the High Court said that the Indian government has not provided any evidence. As
forget the Indian government, sir. This is your own investigator.
Not only that, these people are Pakistanis. The terror attack was launched from Pakistan. What investigation have you carried out?
Look at the information provided by them. They never say anything substantive. The Khosa article does not provide any piece of evidence. It is a bizarre article just to, to stay in the limelight. Nothing else.
So why would Khosa write something like this? He headed your investigation agency. He headed Pakistan's Federal Investigation Agency, and he says the trawler was brought back to Pakistan, the trawler which sent these terrorists into India. It was painted and concealed. The engine for the terror attack for the dinghy was bought in Japan, sold to Lahore. He says there was a Karachi ops room, and he's saying that if Pakistan wants, there is this Fair Trial Act of 2013 where voice samples can be used as evidence. Tariq Pirzada, if your country has the will, go after the terrorists, sir.
You are absolutely right. The voice samples can be used if it can be verified by the technical experts that the voice samples are real, genuine, not tampered with. I agree with you, but this has to be gone through some legal process. It cannot be done because headline today is asking me to do. Tariq Khosa, if Tariq Khosa
Mr. Pirzada, tell me when your legal process will go through. You shot the prosecutor of the particular case. You changed the court. You had 300 witnesses, out of which only 20% of witnesses have been examined, and nothing has happened. Now you are trying to tell us that you are going to go through the legal process. When will the legal process be completed? Is there a will in Pakistan's sort of aim to carry out this task?
We cannot summarily do justice as you did the summary justice in the case of Ajmal Kassab. You did not allow our
Mr. Pirzada, it is because the terror attack has been masterminded by the ISI. And ISI will not allow the courts to proceed and punish these people. This fact is known to you as well as every single Pakistani that this will not happen. And that is precisely the reason why the case is not progressing, why it is getting delayed.
Is not relevant anymore because it is the judicial system of Pakistan that has the capability of expelling prime ministers from their office. So you have to trust Pakistani judicial system. You just cannot worry about any lousy Khosa or some Indian raw agents making statements after 10 years.
No, why are you calling your namesake a lousy Khosa? He's a man who's carried out systematic investigations, Tariq Pirzada. Just because he exposes your country, you call him a lousy man.
Here is the answer. If he were an honest person, he should have immediately resigned at that time. If he had the evidence, he should have simply disclosed that I, in the interest of two countries, reveal this information, that Pakistan has voice samples, Pakistan has all the data, that the government of Pakistan is stonewalling on this issue. That man definitely has credential problems because he did not disclose it.
I want to quickly bring in, stay with me Tariq Pirzada, I want to bring in Brigadier Gurmeet Kanwal for more on this. He's a strategic affairs analyst. Brigadier Kanwal, what do you make of what Tariq Pirzada says? He says Tariq Khosa is a lousy man who's doing it for 2 minutes of fame.
Mr. Pirzada can remain in denial. He's always in denial. But I must say Mr. Khosa has shown a great amount of courage despite the grave threat to his life. His life is in danger from here onwards. Gaurav, I would like to say two things. One, now that Pakistan's complicity has been admitted by an outsider, that also the FIA chief, immediate UN sanctions must be imposed on Pakistan for sponsoring terrorism. At the very least, all military sales to Pakistan must stop from all member countries of the United Nations. Second, I see in this the early trend, the early strains of the emergence of a yearning in Pakistan civil society for the success that India has had and that they haven't. Pakistan is becoming a failed state. Gradually,
Pakistan clearly is becoming a failed state. Tariq Pirzada, closing comments to you. Will Pakistan take action or is it becoming a failed state that will not take action against terror perpetrators?
You know, if you say Ajmal Kassab was a criminal, that guy kept killing 200 and some people for 3 days. Where were the great armed forces of India?
Forget that. Will Pakistan take action? Will Pakistan take action?
Agencies? Your country is a failed state more than anybody.
Oh, clearly there Pakistan lives in denial and continues to live in denial. There is merit.
Live in denial.
There is merit in what Brigadier Gurmeet Kanwal says. Foreign military sales to Pakistan should stop and there should be UN sanctions against Pakistan. For the moment, Tariq Pirzada, Brigadier Mahalingam and Brigadier Gurmeet Kanwal, many thanks for joining me here on the broadcast. A quick break. We'll be back with much more. Keep watching India Today.